Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Monday Musings, where I talk about all the things going on in my life in a vlog format, whether it's games, shows, whatever. I am pre recording this as always on a Sunday. Not as always, that was a stupid thing to say. I don't always pre record these things. I sometimes do, often do. Anyway, this is being recorded on July 25th. For those of you watching July 26th, who cares? It's Monday. And I have a other side. Chris accidentally got a little Clorox on my shirt. She was not happy with herself, but it's all good. These are my home shirts. These are my house shirts. I love these shirts. I've had um, this is not this is one of a pair I bought many years ago in Kohl's. I bought four pairs, two blacks, two greens, two browns, two grays of this shirt, and I'm not gonna look at the label right now, but I will say this. Um, I am still wearing. I still have. I wore the first half of those pairs for many years. And about 3 years ago, when we moved here, I finally just most of the first versions of those had finally gotten to the point where they were just rats and just needed to be thrown away and used for dish towels. Um, so then I switched to the new ones, which I'd have saved for many years. And so I'm now wearing the other ones. But what's funny is the other one I have of this, you've seen me wear it sometimes in these episodes. It's a really older, it's faded, like almost the dye's almost gone from the shoulders. It's definitely gone from the underarms from deodorant all the years. I bought those. I've bought all of these shirts in 2007, and they were like 13, $14 per t-shirt. I don't have to have a lot of t-shirts. I've worn the same ones for many years. You just repeat through the four, and of course I have a few that have logos and stuff on them. But these shirts are the most comfortable things ever. It's just nice cotton shirts, man. Gotta love them. Affordable. And if you can get 14, 15 years out of a t-shirt, hey, that's pretty good. It's finally that other one though is finally going the way of the Dodo as well. It's got some holes in the back and the material's pretty see-through, and I don't wear it anywhere other than in the house because it's super comfy. So welcome to that part of today's Monday Musings. That's part of those random things that I'll talk about. Um, it's about 5:30 when I'm recording this. We just got back from the park, had a nice picnic today. It's raining outside. Might hear some thunder in the background because it's storming a little bit. Let's talk about what I've been up to this past week. Go over here to this tab so that I can see my notes. Uh, First up, I backed a game on Kickstarter for the first time in a very long time. I think the last game I backed was I have three that were all around the same time period: Project Eternity, Star Citizen, and Pantheon. One of those didn't go through. So it's been a long time since I've used Kickstarter. But I found this demo the other day, and I'm looking real quick because I think it looks like it funded. Yeah, it looks like it's funded. Anyway, the game's called Blue June. It is a two. What do they call it? 2.5 3D or 2.5D, not 3D. It's 2.5D, I think is what they call these games, but it's a side scroller put together by a one girl operation up in, I believe, Toronto, Canada. Um, I typically am not a big fan of like a lot of these smaller games. It's just my thing. It's hit and miss for me, and that's why I don't back a lot of things at Kickstarter. When I saw the demo for this game, it popped up on Friday for me. The Kickstarter's ending as I'm recording this. I think it's actually got 18 hours to go or something. It says 17 hours to go. So you might still, depending on when this comes out tomorrow morning, if this is out at 7 a.m. like it usually is, you'll have a few hours to still back the game if you want to go back it. And I would recommend that you do if you like fun little games. I played the demo, and the thing that got me was when I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, hey, that looks a lot like this old game that I played many years ago called Another World or Out of This World. It was a 2.5D side scroller where you go to an alien planet and everything else. And this art style is obviously more modernized, but it's a very similar art style to what that game had. And so I was immediately drawn to that. Plus, the way the monsters were done and everything else. So here's the thing though, I'm not a fan of horror games, and it claims to be a horror game. So I jumped into the demo and got scared out of my pants twice during the 20 or 30 minutes that I played that demo. Um, and immediately got done with the demo and was like, no, I'm gonna go back this on Kickstarter, and I went and backed it, and I have to my own. I'm gonna toot my own horn a little bit. I have done the best I could over the last, over the weekend to help promote things, and it looks like it's not just because of me, I'm saying, but all the promotion that people are starting to do, because she was only like $17,000 out of like the 24,000 that she was asking for or whatever. And then I went to the park and came back, and she had jumped like another hundred and some backers, and it looks like, as I'm looking at it right now, I believe it's backed. It says 23,947 out of 23,881 goal. It's converting from Canadian, so it looks like it's funded, which is pretty awesome. Um, and anyway, it's just a really cool looking game, and I'm interested to see what this looks like when it comes out. Like I said, it was mostly the art style that immediately drew me to it, because it looked like, another world, or out of this world, which I really liked when I was growing up. I used to play that with my uncle, and have really fond memories of that game, which had some. I wouldn't call it horror, but it had some scary moments, facing creatures and, yeah, having aliens chase you down. So kudos to her. Um, I believe her studio is called Tiny Dodo Games. It's tinydodo.ca, but the project is called Blue June, and I will drop a link to it in the YouTube video below. But I also dropped a link to it in Discord the other day, letting people know that I had backed it, and if they wanted to take a look, they should. But it looks pretty cool. Looks like her name's BB from Toronto, Canada, and it looks like she's been working on this for a couple years. So first game I've backed in Kickstarter in many, many, many years, and hopefully you guys like the look of it as well and can check that out. Um, Before I get into talking about New World, because I have some stuff I want to talk about New World. Have you watched Masters of the Universe yet? If you have not watched Masters of the Universe yet, what are you waiting for? The only complaint I have is that they decided to split the season into two parts, so they only gave us the first 5 episodes instead of all 10 at once. And I'm like, what the fuck, Netflix? Like, why are you making me wait for the next 5 episodes? Like, cliffhangers suck. Interestingly enough, the critics love the show, but if you go to like Rotten Tomatoes, which I never do, but Scribbles linked it in Discord, and so I went and looked at it, and I should have never done that, because I don't care what critics say usually. But on Rotten Tomatoes, as an example, the critics seem to love it, but the audience, there's a bunch of people that seem to hate it. And the reason they hate it, I'm going to talk spoilers here. So if you have not watched it yet, actually, I'm not going to talk about spoilers. Hang on, I'll back that up. I'm not going to talk spoilers. I am going to say that the storyline is not He-Man. So anybody who goes into this show expecting it to be all about He-Man, you're sadly mistaken. There's a reason the show is called Masters of the Universe, okay? Because it's talking about masters, plural. All right. So the if you watch Kevin, I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith, and he did an interview a couple days ago where he was talking about this. Um, they are not basing their stuff on like the comics or any of the shows that have really come before per se, because this is a Netflix production, a co-production between Netflix and Mattel. Mattel is the original creator of the Masters of the Universe figurines way back when. And so the lore of this show, this is not a reboot at all. It takes a lot of what was established with the lore of the figurines when they were first created in like the early 80s, and then it takes a little bit from that first television show that was produced around that time. There's a little bit of both that goes into that, and they have basically just kind of picked up the storyline and moved on with it. And this is a lot different than before because the focus is not on primarily He-Man. If you look back to the old shows, it was all about He-Man and of course his sidekicks. This show is about everybody. There's a whole bunch going on. I don't want to spoil it for people because it hasn't been out long enough for people to have had a chance to watch it yet. So I'm not going to review it on the show. But I will say that I've enjoyed it. Um, I've really enjoyed the first episode was just like, oh my god, this is so good. And the things that happened at the end of that first episode, it very much feels like, in my mind, it feels like they're paying homage to the old D&D cartoons and the old He-Man cartoons very, very well because it very much establishes that, oh, this is a group mission. We now have to get the party together, and the party has to go out and has to do this mission together as a team. So it's not just about one person being, the amazing savior. It's about many people coming together, and it's been a very good show. And Bear McCreary doing music for this show, the music is great, the writing is great, voice acting's great, the animation's great. I love the show so far. So fuck the people on Rotten Tomatoes who are like trashing it. I'm with the critics on this one. The critics seem to like it, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it as well. I just wish they wouldn't have split it into two seasons. So if you haven't watched it yet, you definitely should. New World. Wow. I put my review up on Friday night. So if you really want to hear me rant in a good way about New World, you need to go check that out because that's a 30-minute video. I haven't done a 30-minute review, I don't think ever for my Is It Worth It show. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I usually am like 15 minutes ish, sometimes 20. But there's so much good about New World that I got 30 minutes out of it and just ugh. Excuse me. I'm interested to see what's going to happen post launch. I have not hardcored it during the beta. I did hardcore it for the first 2 days. It launched. I played like 8 hours the first day, and then I had a couple of sessions the second and third day, and I'm up like right around 20 hours. But I haven't played it in what 2 or 3 days now. Over the weekend, I haven't played it because I've had other things that have been taking up my time. But New World is great. I gotta say, as my review video says, I didn't know anything about the game up until about 48 hours or a little bit less than that, like 30 hours before the open beta or the closed beta started. And I saw a couple things that got me intrigued, and I started doing some digging, and I went, "Oh crap, they've actually changed this from what I thought it was." And now it's more like, I get a lot of Guild Wars 2 vibes. Obviously, there's a lot more going on than what Guild Wars 2 had going on at launch. But the way the game plays in terms of, yeah, like your abilities change depending on what weapons you're using, and you've only got like 3 or 4 abilities. Um, I think you really only have four because you have your main attack, and then you have your three specials, so you have four abilities is all you ever get. Um, it's good. It's a damn good game, and for $40, I was like, I can't believe they're only selling this for 40. Like having played it now, I would gladly pay $60 for this game. $40 is a steal as far as I'm concerned when you consider that it doesn't have a monthly fee. Um, yeah, it's just such a good game. Anyway, I don't want to rant about it too much here or ramble on about it too much because I did do that 30-minute overview video on Friday, so check out that review. But all I gotta say is it's a really good game. My brother even asked me, he's like, "So is this going to be our game that we play this winter?" And I was like, "I don't know. We'll wait and see." Because I'm torn because there's also the new expansion coming out for Star Wars: The Old Republic this winter, and they're making some really cool changes to Star Wars: The Old Republic, and we haven't played that game together for probably 3 years. We do Lord of the Rings online every winter, and this year I'm like, I don't know. I kind of want to do Star Wars: The Old Republic, but I would love to do New World with my brother. But I'm gonna wait and see. I'm in a guild at the moment, which is part of Simmerg's group, but it's not really an official chapter of their guild, which is heavy into Ashes of Creation. But depending on who gets involved and everything else, we'll see what it looks like. But if I don't end up rolling with them, I'll roll with somebody else because I am looking forward to a lot of the structure that New World has in terms of I want to do PB dungeons. I want to participate in claiming a settlement and making that settlement really big. And you got to be part of a pretty big organization to make that happen. So I am looking forward to that, and hopefully all of that comes together. It's going to be interesting to see what that looks like when it comes to launch. But so far, um, it's pretty damn awesome. So I've been very, very pleasantly surprised. All right, we're 15 minutes in. It is now time to talk Project Drammond, and there has been a lot of stuff. So one of the most important videos to watch right now is going to be the update from last Wednesday, which we published on Friday of last week, which talks about quite a few of the things. But we finalized the naming for the brand, and we also went out and bought all of our websites for the brand as well as the company, and bought those, and then got all of our social media channels locked down with names. Chris is finishing, as of this recording, she's finishing up the primary image for the logo for the company tonight. And then she's going to turn around. We're going to brainstorm next week with my brother. We're going to be brainstorming the different types of logos that we want to see for the brand itself, and then we're going to be doing some demos of those, and that'll be what Chris works on throughout the month of August, in between doing chapter work, because I want to do a couple more chapters. We got to do chapter 4 and chapter 5 for August. And then obviously the big thing is playtesting is kicking off on uh, August 4th, and we've had some pretty cool updates. Originally, we'd only had a handful of people, but we've had three of our. It's just funny actually. Two of my brother's friends from high school, and also my accountant of all people. I didn't realize that my accountant was in. My accountant is also a friend of the family and friend of my brother's family. And they were just there recently visiting my brother and their family in Missouri, and their kids were playing Minecraft with my nephew, and turns out that they're really big into mobile games. They're not big into PC games per se, but they're big into mobile games and stuff. And I found out that turns out that I guess they're big into tabletop games as well, but they haven't been able to play because of the pandemic and everything else. So yeah, my accountant signed up, which was pretty awesome. So we have a good group of people now that are going to be rolling into the playtesting on August 4th. We have enough people now that my wife's actually a little concerned about joining because she's like, there's going to be so much going on. It won't be as slow as I wanted it to be. So Chris might just be an innocent bystander as opposed to a participant, but I would like to get her into tabletop. So we'll see. Um, but we do have a good chunk of people. So since the last time, because the last episode I was saying, hey, we only had, we didn't have that many people, and now we've got a good chunk of people signed up. So looks like playtesting is going to be a lot of fun. That's kicking off August 4th. Obviously, we published the first 3 chapters of the book on Patreon, and then I went ahead and pushed out a PDF version of that, which has all 3 chapters in, which is much more like a traditional book. And I got to admit, it was really cool to see it because it definitely gave me the Dragonlance vibes with like the chapter art from Chris at the beginning of each chapter, and it's so good. I'm actually, by the way, I'm also way off on for those of you who followed along, if you're subscribers to Patreon, I'm nowhere near my outline. Like the outline, because if you read the outline that I published on Patreon, it had prologue written, and the prologue was supposed to be all about the events of what's going on in the city and then the main characters escaping the city, right? Well, when I sat down to start writing, I was like, there's no way, because I'm trying to do these chapters like 2 to 3,000 word chapters. And when I got like 3,000 words in, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this in a prologue. Like the events that take place in the city, if I'm wanting to do it this way, it's going to be. I'm not going to put a limit on it, but I'm going to say it's potentially 6 to 8 chapters, possibly 10, but at least 6 to 8 chapters. I've gotten 3 chapters in, and for those of you who've read the first 3 chapters, we've just introduced the characters and we've toyed. We've teased the fact that there is something going on. There's some sort of a sickness. They assume it's a plague, but we still have to, if you've paid attention to the brainstorming episodes, um, like the Church of the Elder Way still has to reach out to the Circle of Mages and ask for their help, even though some of the people in the church don't want their help. The enlightened father is not those people, and he wants the help of the elves. So that still has to happen. The elves have to the circle of mages have to work their magic to try to help, then that's going to go wrong, and that's going to start creating the monsters that start running rampant throughout Parthana. That all has to happen, and that's not something that can happen in like 2 chapters. That's going to be something that's going to be like another 3 to 4 chapters, and then there's the escape. Then there's getting out of the city. So yeah, I'm thinking 6 to 8 chapters minimum, possibly 10 chapters just to get them out of the city, which that encompasses everything that I wanted to put into that prologue. Um, so yeah, I mean, we're gonna end up with 25 to 30,000 words of content just to get them out of the city, which is great. I mean, that's pretty cool. So I'm in terms of following the outline, I'm not following the outline because I'm still in the prologue, even though I'm on heading into chapter 4 right now. So that's been fun. Um, so that's all happened. My brother and I had a big meeting on this past Saturday for like an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes, going over the current prototype and just really nailing down what needed to be done for dialogue and quest and everything else. So I just wrote a bunch of descriptions and tooltip things so that when you hover over something like a tavern sign, gives you the name of the tavern. If you hover over something else, give you the character's name, and then if you do an inspection, you get a different text. So I've been doing all that. I did that for a few hours on Saturday night. I also wrote the first 2 different characters worth of dialogue that is for our internal testing. Those quests theoretically are going to end up being in the prototype demo that we ship out to people here pretty shortly. Um, but we got to do some internal testing to make sure that because we had some additional things we wanted to do beyond what we had done before with testing. So Joey has to get all those mechanics working um, and dialogue trees the way we want. Excuse me. So, but if you watch the teasers that I published on Sunday, the day that I'm recording this, we did some teasers on social media as well as in Discord, I think. Um, that prototype's coming together. It's looking pretty sweet. The toss a coin to your Witcher update was the most recent one we did, where we're just throwing a little joke in there when you pick up some money and you get that little Easter egg. So that's coming along nicely. The month of August is just gonna be from on my end. It's just about running the playtests. Actually, today I went and bought a brand new notebook because I was like, I need to christen this brand new notebook. So Chris and I went to the park as on the day that we're recording this. Went bought a brand new notebook and christened that as the campaign notebook. And I wrote 3 pages of notes, which is basically I kind of already had in my head what I wanted, but now that we're getting down to the wire with the actual first campaign, I went ahead and put that all down on paper. And then starting tomorrow, I'm still not going to do a lot of it because I want to let it play out organically and then write it afterwards. But I am doing the major points and the major variants that I'm hoping players will take or the options that I'm going to present to them anyway. And then I've got to do some like basic dialogue and some basic description text for a few things. But that's all ready to go as of today. I got a couple more maps that I got to do between now. Hang on, I got to think about where that campaign's starting off. Yeah, there's basically like 1 or 2 maps that I got to do before the campaign on August 4th, but those are easy maps to do. Excuse me. I did not take a nap today. I'm feeling it now, which means I need to drink some more of my tea here. Gotta stay awake because I got Minecraft in about 2 hours. Looks like about 2 hours. I got Minecraft with my brother and my nephew. Our Sunday night thing. Anyway, September-ish is going to be when I anticipate that we're going to be doing the reveal for everything. As we go away from calling it Project Drama to the official name. And at that point, I will probably be switching. I'll definitely be switching all of the update videos that I do here on my personal YouTube channel, we've done, I checked yesterday, I think it was 77 videos. I've done 77 videos for Project Ramen on my YouTube channel since March 1st when we kicked things off. I'm going to be moving for in the future. I'll be moving those over around September, whenever we decide to do the full reveal. But throughout the month of August, I'll continue to do updates here on my personal YouTube channel. But beyond that, I think my personal YouTube channel is going to end up becoming. We'll keep it. I'll be keeping the Monday Musings when we come back for the next iteration of Mondays and MMORPGs. That'll be here. My Is It Worth It game review series will be here. Anytime I stream games will be here. And I'm probably going to start doing a book review uh, series here as well, as I get back into doing some more reading. So stay tuned for that. But all of the Project Drammon stuff will move over to the other channel. So stick around for all that stuff. In the meantime, there's a good storm going on outside. I'm going to go enjoy a couple hours of rest here, probably take a little bit of a nap, and prep my mind for some Minecraft tonight. Thanks to everybody for following along. Again, if you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon so you get updates for all the future stuff I do. Oh, and I got to do some more Lotro cooking in real life episodes. I haven't done one in about probably 6 weeks now, but that's because I've been busy with all this other stuff. And Chris and I we haven't wanted to just do new recipes, so we've just been kind of doing our bulk recipes where we'll just cook a big vat of beans, and then we've got that for the next 2 weeks. We'll have that with different meals, and then we've just been doing things like burritos and tacos and stews and soups and things that aren't that interesting to record. And we've already kind of done some of those episodes. So, um, but we do have some plans to do some more. Just also when we're going out a lot because we were doing a lot of running because the weather's really good. And as winter starts to roll around, starts to get colder here, we'll probably start doing more cooking indoors. So, thanks everybody. See you next time.